Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Angry Chicken, the podcast all about Hearthstone, Heroes of Warcraft. I am Garrett Weinzerl, and I'm joined, as always, by Willie Dills Gregory and Jocelyn Moffat. Welcome back, guys. How's a week lag of League of Explorers treating you all?
Yeah, it's the same. I'm waiting for the Murlocs to drop. Basically, I'm excited for that to happen, but that's a weird thing for me to say. But yeah, I'm excited for the Murlocs. Weird.
Did you guys even notice that there was no League of Explorers in all of your, I assume, many turkey dinners?
No, there was plenty of stuff to do. Yeah, I was fine.
I had a very busy 4-day celebration. And by really busy, I mean like Thursday and Friday was nuts, and then Saturday and Sunday, I just sat and beat Halo 5, finally.
Ooh, that sounds
nice.
fun.
Oh, man, it was a good time, man. It took me right back to college.
So I had my turkey day. Then we went home and had what we were calling Blackout Friday on Friday, which was we all met up and did like a little mini bar crawl. It was very mellow though. We didn't actually. There was 10 of us maybe at the height of it. Maybe not even that many. But it was pretty fun. Then we watched the Warriors destroy the Suns. Jury and Ashley came out for a little bit, and that was cool.
See,
I heard you guys were on the cover
crawl. Is a
mini bar crawl
like
means you only hit like
one
6
bar?
bars. No. Like we went down one street and then that was it. Like we didn't it wasn't the whole thing where we put it on Reddit and invited. Like it was just it was just a few of my friends.
First off, didn't know that it was a normal thing now to put it on Reddit when you're doing a bar crawl. Also,
totally.
Where I live in Florida, I'm lucky if there's even 6 bars, period, within walking distance of one another. And
yeah,
so,
can't do a bar crawl in non-big cities, really. That's a big city thing.
Yeah.
You do that in San Francisco, New York, like LA.
Out at the beach. Out at the beach, you can go do that. But,
sure. Okay.
In the immediate vicinity, it's not looking too good. You could, hit up, 2 of them and then just, keep turning around and going back and forth, I guess. Or
okay, so you crawl back and forth between people. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
That works. As long as you've got a minimum of 2, that's fine.
The first time I ever did it, it was like a guy who was a local radio DJ put it together, and it was this huge thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this is what a bar crawl is. It's like a massive thing where there's hundreds of people. And then as I got older, I was like, oh no, it's just sometimes it's 10 of your friends, and you just decide, I'm just gonna go to lots of bars tonight. It's a bar crawl. And I was like, all right. But I just wanted to hang out with people before I left, so I told everybody who lives in the city, if you want to come out, I know a lot of people have the day off, so this will be a good day to all hang out. So it was fun. It was a good time.
Sweet.
But no Hearthstone, and no nothing and then the next day was hangover, relax and not worry about anything. Hearthstone hurts my brain too much when I'm hungover, so I don't like to do it. And yeah, then the rest of the weekend was just super chill.
I used to get some of my best Alterac Valleys during Burning Crusade done while hungover.
See, I could do that. WoW PvP takes, I think, less brain power than a game of Hearthstone, to be quite honest.
Absolutely.
If it's you and
spam my buttons, tab spam.
If you're Alliance defending the bridge on Alterac Valley and you've got some buddies with you, I agree.
Sure,
it doesn't take much brain power because that's a
get
really
some knockback abilities.
Yeah.
And just kick them off the bridge.
Get a Moonkin in there and just stand in the center and just push everyone off. It's great.
That damn thing is so broken, man. That stupid bridge.
I love it. It wouldn't be so bad if both sides had it, because honestly, it's a really fun place to push and pull and fight.
Yeah.
But this isn't a WoW show, so I guess I'll just move right on.
The Horde have this dumb ramp that's so easy to get whatever. Anyway.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you, man. As a former Filthy Alliance.
Salty about Alterac Valley still. Always will be.
Well, hey, we're live at our new time. We will be recording The Angry Chicken live on Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern Time from now on. So everyone where that the old episode was just too late for you, come hang out. Come check it out. We'll be streaming live at twitch.tv/AMOVETV. That's AMOVE TV every single Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Also, I wanted to make a quick note about Stitcher, which is funny because if you're listening to the show on Stitcher, you're not going to hear this because Stitcher is terrible. It's awful. Stop using it. Is really all I can tell everyone, sadly. The way Stitcher works, real quick, in case you're wondering, is every other podcast avenue out there just gives you our stuff directly from our servers via an RSS feed. What Stitcher does is it downloads the file and rehosts it on their own server, which means I have no control over what they do with the content. So a lot of people have been writing in, and I do mean a lot of people, that the Angry Chicken has not been updated since the live BlizzCon episode. And you've probably noticed if you went to amove.tv or YouTube or literally anywhere else that the show is not over. We did not pod fade. It is still here and kicking and clucking. So the issue is with Stitcher. I have emailed them an obscene amount of times. They have not responded once. They haven't responded to any of my tweets. So the only thing I can tell people to do at this point is stop using Stitcher.
Yeah. So the problem with Stitcher too is like they mean well, and they actually do mean to like do good things for podcasting, but they also have this model where they're trying to keep everything like in their own servers and in-house kind of thing, and it just separates is what it ends up doing, and it screws everything up. Yep. iTunes is as frustrating to me too, though. Like iTunes has a lot of problems in its own right. Like I just wish there was the perfect way for everyone to get podcasts and everyone actually used it, because like the perfect way is to just subscribe to each podcast you like's RSS feed, and then it's like on the podcast to work or not like iTunes or Stitcher going down or any of these other things. But unfortunately, like podcasting as a genre is very segmented because of how people actually ingest it. You know, it's not like turning on the TV or clicking the radio to the thing you like. It's like, no, I use this. Oh, I use this. I got a Zune. Oh, Zune's going away. Like it's like all these like crazy weird things that everyone does.
You had a Zune?
Nobody had a Zune. That's just an example.
My roommate had a Zune. And actually, I got to say, I was remarkably impressed at the time with the UI.
That's literally going away though now. So no people can complain about how they have a Zune and we don't support their Zune.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we got a tweet last week. It's like, hey, when are you putting these things on Zune? I'm like, it's not going to matter in like a month.
Never putting them on Zune.
So anyway, that's what's going on with Stitcher. Believe me, we're trying. We hear you guys. Hopefully you're hearing this through any other means. I've heard a lot of people, because I guess a lot of folks over on Android who can't use iTunes, they use Stitcher. I've heard from a lot of folks that Pocket Casts is a good thing to use. I don't know, and I don't think any of us do, because I know we're all iPhone users.
I use Overcast on the iPhone.
Yeah. They don't make it anymore, but I still have, since I bought it when it was being made, I still have Instacast, and it's still to this date one of my favorite podcasting apps, and it still works.
There's a whole bunch of apps out there that literally just take the RSS feed and then give it, like, just download a new episode when it comes out. That's the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah,
that's essentially what iTunes does too, but iTunes has like a whole bunch of whatever.
Right, and folks in the chat room right now are like, well, Into the Nexus works on Stitcher. That's my point. I have no control over it. It's unique to the Angry Chicken right now. I don't know what's causing it. Stitcher isn't talking to me, and they also aren't fixing it. So, get something else, folks. Also, you a patron? Are you listening? Well, the patron call-in episode is tomorrow. If you're listening to this when it goes up on podcast form, it's today. It's going to be same time as the new live show at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be taking live calls from our patrons over at twitch.tv/amovetv. So add the Angry Chicken Skype account. All of that information is over at patreon.com/TAC right now. You have to be a patron to see it, but we look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. Now, let's get into this week's Hearthstone news.
Good news, everyone!
The Hearthstone Championship for 2016 has been announced and completely detailed, including a near $2 million prize pool. And more interesting still is how the whole championship is going to play out, because just about everything is changing, and some things may continue to change as the year goes on. So that's it's very interesting.
I think that's such a great thing. They really kind of hemmed themselves in last year, saying like all tournaments must use Conquest and we shall use Conquest, and you know, like we're not going to change anything from January through November. And by the time we hit November, everyone was just like, this is the worst of life ever. So I think it's such a great thing that now they're just like, we've thought of these formats. We think they're pretty cool. They're competitive. They're fair. So we're going to use these. If you guys think of something else, just email us. We'll add it. I'm like, what? That flexibility, though.
Yeah. It seems kind of oddly unprofessional in a way, but I'm really stoked and happy to hear this. However, what about the format that they're launching with? What do you guys think about that? And for those listening who may not know what it is, the format they're going to be launching the Hearthstone World Championship 2016 with is going to be a modified version of Conquest that includes bans. This means players are going to bring 4 unique class decks, not 3. They're going to reveal all 4 to their opponent, and then each player will get to ban one of the 4 decks of the other, and this leads into a pretty normal par for the course best of 5 match that we've kind of come to expect from the Conquest format after the banning takes place.
So by launch, you just mean this is going to be the first of their 3 championships, right? Like that's what
Yes.
they're going to use for
Yeah.
the one in February. Okay, because I was aware that they were using essentially 4 formats, but I didn't realize like they had already announced that this one will be for the first one. Okay, that's interesting. I don't mind it. I think it's fine. It's a new twist on an old favorite, if you will. And I think banning is okay. I would prefer banning with more classes to choose from, so that the ban isn't more about like. I would like the ban not to be like, okay, we just ban like the most powerful deck or whatever. Like I would like banning where then you have selections against what was banned or selections outside of what was banned, but whatever, this is fine.
Do
So you would want to see like one ban with maybe
And then
5
like a
decks or
selection out of
something.
4 decks or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Just something where it's like you're not cutting 25% of their decks out with like just one move, you know? Because if you think about what they do with bans and stuff in like Heroes or Dodo or League or anything like that, any type of situation where you have bans, you're banning something that's like before you ever even got to pick it or whatever, like you ban it and it's like a tiny percentage of what could have possibly been picked, and then you make picks based on the ban, where here it's like I have 4 things, okay, cut that one out. So it's like a ban, and this is actually that's maybe the most powerful move of the entire match will be that ban.
So are you suggesting we come up with a format where all 9 classes are technically available?
Well,
and
that would be fun.
you just ban a class?
But I mean, like, the less percentage of the total amount of stuff the ban represents is better, I think. So I understand you can't really do that and then have a best of 5. But
Right,
if
you would need
then
to
had like one extra deck. If they brought 5 decks and then you banned one, then they chose out of the 4. Right? That would kind of do the same thing.
That'd be
It's just
interesting.
unfortunate that having a ban means, okay, now a whole like just this amount of your choices is gone, and it's a huge amount, right? That I think is the issue I have, which I still even then would like to see like some amount of sideboarding or something. Like I make this ban and then we have like these decks and then I can kind of alter my decks just a tiny bit. I want to see just a lot of strategy within that stuff, but I know it's complicated to do that. So
What if you could do something where you got to go like pick, ban, pick instead of just like
Sure.
banning right off the top? So I could say like I
Protect a
want to
deck?
play,
Yeah.
So I want to play like I'm known for priest or shaman or whatever. I want to take the deck that I'm strongest with. I want to keep that one deck because they're still running Conquest format, so you can still only win with that deck one time. I can see how that might be a bit of a problem for Last Hero Standing because then you could potentially sweep your opponent with one deck. But in the Conquest format, I think there's a little bit of room there to take one deck and protect that and then move forward with a ban afterwards. What do you
I
guys
like that
think
too.
of
I think that's any way you can lessen the impact of that ban is, I think, better, because the ban is so powerful when it's 4 decks and then I ban and now you have 3 decks left, and like that first ban choice is just so huge, you know. So any way they can make that first ban choice just slightly less, I think will be better.
Yeah, actually, Jocelyn, I really like your suggestion. I would like to see where maybe the first round is a pick. Like both players get to lock in one deck. Like, okay, this deck cannot be banned. Ban one of these other 3.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
that
I like
makes
that
it
too.
gives it a little more agency, and it gives you a story to talk about. All of a sudden, you know, the casters are like, oh, well, he picked this. Well, it's because of this reason. Now, granted, we might end up in another world where we've got another patron on the block. It might end up being Secret Paladin. We still doesn't seem to.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it has been. I think
yeah,
good
right.
players are much better against Secret Paladin than most of the rest of the world, right? So
No, I
they don't care quite as much.
I agree. I'm just
Yeah.
throwing it in there because someone's
Sure.
going to email like, "Oh, it's already there at Secret Paladin." I was like,
Yeah.
I don't agree with you, but I'll throw it out there. But no, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
because with Conquest, it, like you said, Jocelyn, it's not that important that there is one OP deck because it can only get you one win. So with Last Hero Standing, the ban was much more significant because it was like, okay, everyone's going to bring mid-range Hunter when that's definitely the top deck. Everyone's going to, when Undertaker was going rampant, right? Everyone's going to bring that deck. So is it really that fun to watch Undertaker Hunter like sweep every match? No. So banning made a lot of sense then, right? When you're doing Last Hero Standing. But with Conquest, banning made less sense because whatever. But what you ended up with was no imaginative decks, no interesting new fun things, because everyone was like, well, I just got to bring the 3 strongest because none of my decks can lose. So this might allow you to like ban something that's a terrible matchup for a deck that you think is really good against certain stuff that's kind of out there and weird. Like you could bring a Reno Warlock and know that, oh, I'm really bad against mid-range Paladin because it's just like a better deck that will beat me down with minions. But burn decks I can leave because my Reno means that I don't lose to them. So I'll try to ban their mid-range Paladin and keep my Reno lock deck. Like that kind of stuff could actually work. So the good news here though is that we're already like going deep into what this one format is, but Blizzard has already given themselves an out to say, hey, if a better format comes along, we'll take it. We'll use it. Like we're not totally locked in from the beginning.
Yeah, and they've specifically said that it's 4 heroes with 1 ban, right? They haven't even said like you ban right off the top, or like they actually
that's true.
Yeah. They could be thinking pick ban, whatever. So
I would assume if they were thinking that, it would have been in this giant announcement.
Probably. Yeah.
Maybe, but I think they've kind of left it open because they haven't necessarily specifically said this is what's going to happen. They've said you have 4 decks, you ban 1, and they seem so flexible that I would be shocked if they were like, no, we meant ban at the beginning.
Well,
and also there's like 4 official formats already, so even if this one sucks, like it's fine. Like I don't know, like we're not locked in for a year of this if it sucks, which is what happened with Conquest. We were all excited because it was different, and then 6 months later we were like, damn it, I guess this is what it is.
Done?
Yeah.
I think there's issues with both. I'm honestly not super stoked about this new form of Conquest because I feel like it's like, well, you just tack on a ban. It's like, well, that's what most people hated the most about Last Hero Standing, and now you're just adding it on to a already lackluster format. And if it works the way that I'm...
but it alters a lot. Like, it alters it differently than Last Hero Standing did, right? So I kind of need to wait and see, because we haven't really seen ban with Conquest at this point. Like, I can't think of a tournament that was used yet. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure there was, but I just can't think of it.
I can't think of it either. I mean, DreamHack, which we'll talk about in a little bit, did Last Hero Standing without bans,
which is now like it's like the cool hipster thing to do now. It's like, yeah, we're gonna bring back Last Hero Standing because that was way better, you guys. Just like music in the '70s, and that's kind of what we've gotten back to,
right?
But like we've talked about on this show many times, I'm still waiting for the new thing that blows all of our minds and totally works well and is the, format going forward forever and ever with Hearthstone, which may not exist, but we haven't seen, because of Blizzard and their rigidness with the Conquest format, we haven't even seen people try. Yeah. So regardless of whether I like this new one format that they're launching with, the overall news of this announcement of how they're changing everything has got me really excited.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, we mentioned the 4 official formats and we didn't really say what they are. They are Last Hero Standing. They are Conquest. They're 4 hero, 1 ban Conquest, and blind pick best of 5. Those are the 4 official formats. That, however, doesn't mean that a tournament that wants to be a World Championship point-giving event necessarily has to use these 4. Jocelyn, as you mentioned earlier, they can email Blizzard directly and kind of submit whatever the format is that they would like to use, and as long as Blizzard determines that it's fair, it may be added to the list. So
correct.
Hopefully we'll see something cooler than Conquest with a ban. I'm not excited about this.
It just totally opens it up for innovation, which we haven't really seen previously. So I'm excited to see what the community comes up with.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right now of the wait and see mindset when it comes to the Conquest with a ban, because again, like I just want to see how it actually works. It could like be completely awesome, but it could also be like you think, Garrett, just cool. Well, it's the same thing, but now there's a ban. Like
that was a chance for me to be disappointed before the game even starts.
Yeah,
that's how I look at it. I don't know. I don't like bans in my Hearthstone, but I think I would like them if there was a pick selection as well, like Jocelyn.
That seems like a really cool idea. So I hope we get something like that at some point.
Yeah. Let's talk about how, the points themselves that are going to be awarded that players are going to have to accrue to actually get into these championships. Points are going to be doled out across 4 different classifications of events. There will be ranked play, as you all probably assumed. There will be Hearthstone Cups, Majors, and Championships. Championships are going to yield the most points, and there's a handy little table over on the official Hearthstone site if you want to see exactly how how all the points are divided across these four events. Now, a recent example, and spoilers if for whatever reason you haven't seen DreamHack yet, DreamHack Winter just wrapped up. In that, Purple won 15 points because he took first place. Urzi took 10 points, and Hoj and Green Sheep got 5 each. So this was a major event. It's not considered a championship, but it is a point awarding event. So they now have, those players now have that many points going towards the first championship of this season. However, points are also going to start to decay after each championship season, which is really kind of important to know, because that means if you want the best shot in getting invited to each championship, you're going to have to keep playing and keep accruing points every season.
Yeah.
Did they
You can't lock it in
explain
early.
Yeah, did they explain this at all? Really, how points were going to decay and
Nope.
maybe at what rate?
Nope.
They just
They
said,
just
"You're
said
gonna
points will
start
decay.
this."
On to the next point.
Yeah.
I
Like,
totally
no,
thought I missed something. I
No,
read
I
it
did-
over like 2 or 3
I
times.
did too.
I'm like,
You're not alone.
okay.
I was just like, wait a minute, that seems important to know, but it's not here.
Well, but I think again they'll probably announce after the first quarter like exactly how they plan to do it. I think they probably just want to see what the point situation looks like at that point before they really kind of make that determination, because they've altered how many points you get for certain things too. I mean, that whole thing is now kind of crunched down a little bit. Everybody who makes Legend now gets a point,
Yes.
So there's going to be a lot of points out there. And so I think what they're probably going to do is figure out what the rate of decay is that should make sense, because, okay, well, we want people to be knocked down, but we want people who grinded really hard to kind of start out the gate a little bit ahead of everybody else. So, I'm okay with them being a little bit, like, I'm actually happy for the ambiguity we got with all of this post, because it makes me realize that they're willing to kind of alter things on the fly, but announce the important stuff, right? Like, things like, no more buys for players who are invited. Like, that stuff is very clear and set in
That's
stone.
huge.
But
That's
like this
so
decay
huge.
thing, I am okay with it being a little bit like in the mist. Like, I would rather it be that way. I would rather it be altered on the fly with that kind of stuff.
Oh, I
as
know,
long
but-
as they tell us when they change
Eventually.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Real, yeah.
That said, my brain immediately upon reading that wants to go, well, how fast does it decay? How many
Yeah.
games are you going to have to play?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
How hard are people going to have to work?
It was
exactly.
one very small bullet point, an otherwise lengthy post, and it's just like, well,
Yes.
no, move on too fast, stop.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you there. I understand that. I would rather know that, if they're not ready, if they're not sure, I would still rather know this little tidbit than not know at all that this is going to be a thing.
Sure.
Especially since there have already been points doled out. So,
Yeah, that's true. Somebody's already got 15? That's the highest you can get now or something? For a tournament?
Yeah, and then I don't think they're dishing it out for this last month of ranked play, are they?
No,
no,
it
I think
starts in
that
December.
starts in December. Yeah, so this next month will be
Gotcha.
the first.
Yeah. So,
Next month is the grind month, people.
so at the
Get
moment,
ready to get on it.
at the moment, Purple is the top dog for the Hearthstone World
Sure.
Championship. Him and all his playing with his hair.
Yeah. Or actually, no, wait. So for Hearthstone, for Hearthstone Major, you get 15. So he got 15 for that
Yep.
for that one. They consider that one a major. So
Yeah, it was a major event. Another thing to notice, we mentioned it, but there are a lot of championships. There are going to be 3 season championships and 1 last call invitational per region, and there are 4 regions. Now, China hasn't been detailed out. You have to go to the Chinese site to actually see more details on that. But that's 6 major tournaments, 3 last calls, and then the major finals at BlizzCon, plus everything that's going on in China. And
Yep.
all 9 season championships across the 3 regions are going to have a $100,000 prize pool. Which this is such a huge bump from last year.
so clearly it's working. Like Hearthstone as an esport is working.
Or
because
at
if they're
least
willing
generating
to,
dollars.
yeah, if
Yeah.
they're willing to dump more into even much like, okay, we made money, let's do it again. We'll make more money by putting more money in. It's pretty exciting. It's a good thing.
Yeah. So you already mentioned no buys for players. Dills. They basically came out and said that tournament organizers can reserve spots for specific players, and seeding is done at the discretion of the tournament organizer. But they aren't going to be able to just get an unfair bye to say the round of 16, for example.
Yeah. So essentially, I mean, you can still have like an invitational tournament. You're just not going to be able to award points for it. You could still say, oh, we just want a tournament with Jess, Firebat, and Life Coach, and Trump, and whatever. That's fine, but you ain't going to get any points for those guys. Championship points. If you want championship points, it's going to have to be a bunch of open spots, and you can still invite all those guys, but they'll have to compete on an even playing field with all the open spots. And they have to have a lot of open spots.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
128 open spots.
Yeah, the minimum for a tournament to dole out points is 128 open spots. That's in addition if there are any reserved spots for specific players. So you can invite players and give them a reserved spot, but on top of that, you have to provide an additional 128 open slots at least. So DreamHack clearly having no issues with their 200 player open bracket.
I mean, that's basically an open tournament always. DreamHack's really cool about that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know how the StarCraft stuff works. It always seems like the same names anyway, but maybe that's just because there's no RNG and it's just some guys crush everybody else. But all the tournaments at DreamHack are always pretty cool because it's just like a ton of people, Yeah. The guy just shows up with his money and says, I want to play, and he gets to play.
You playing at DreamHack in Texas?
Of course. Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely I am.
Thanks.
I got my land spot reserved, so I'll play in whatever tournaments I can. I mean, I'll play in the Heroes one if I can find a team. Why not?
Next thing you know, Dills will be signing up for CSGO.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, wait, how do I play this game? What's my reload button? Oh, no.
How do I resurrect with Mercy? Oh, crap, wrong shooter. Nice.
But no, I think this is really good news. And this, to me, what it means is it's going to give us a bunch of new names that are going to be awesome to kind of cover and find out these new players. But it's also going to reaffirm some of these other guys as actually truly the top players in the world. When you see a player like Oskaka come back and make it back in, or Kranich or somebody, have another deep run. It's like when someone has a second deep run in the World Series of Poker, it's like, oh yeah, no, he had to beat all those other random people and the other pros to get this far. It legitimizes them as players, right? So I think even the pro players should be excited about this because while it might be harder, when you do it, it's like no one could take that away from you, right? So I think that's a really cool opportunity for them.
Well, and I think it also kind of legitimizes the esport in general because everyone's always like, oh, esports, there's that whole meme and, Hearthstone isn't really an esport. There's too much RNG. And if we have the same players consistently making it through such a big, huge open format like this, then you can actually say like, no, it is actually competitive. It's difficult. And the top players are consistently the top players. And that kind of legitimizes Hearthstone in general.
I can see that. Or the other could happen where it's just a bunch of no names. And
yeah.
We're like, oh yeah, it is totally random. Never mind.
Yeah. Esports.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
I tend to think though, I really do think that the people who make less mistakes over time are going to make it to the top, and that's going to be the players who play a lot and try to be good.
And we've had multiple DreamHacks now that have kind of proven this. Like, yes, a couple up and comers, they make their way through, they place high, but there's always a handful of very set in stone names that we're used to seeing that always just play consistent and place high.
Yeah, yeah. It's very similar to poker in that respect. It's like, yeah, okay. I can have aces against the pro who has kings, and sure, I'm the better player in that hand. But over time, he'll realize I have aces and fold his kings to me more often, like that, and that's something I'll never do as an amateur. You know what I mean? That's what separates them, and it's just over time, and you need a lot of time to really realize who the best is. And we've only had 2 years now, so.
I'd also like to, with all your poker analogies there, I'd like to thank Hearthstone for giving me a talking point with my dad at Thanksgiving dinner. That was nice. Hey, Dad, are you familiar with Negrano and Elke? Yeah, I know them. Oh, they played Hearthstone at BlizzCon. What?
Yep. Well, the funny thing about Elke is he played StarCraft before he ever played poker.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him.
He was a gamer before he ever played poker.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. Elke was like a StarCraft dude, right? And then didn't he just
sign for Brood Wars or something? He was old school.
And now wasn't he playing for Team Liquid and Hearthstone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually like a signed Hearthstone player now.
Yep. Yeah. No, that was a fun little bonding moment for my dad and I.
Nice.
Stay the hell away from politics. Stick with card games.
Sweet. Yeah.
So
I assume your dad's not feeling the burn. That's a topic for another show. We'll get Jerry
jeez.
to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Coming to an after show near you. Oh, geez. Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot more info. We hit kind of the big bullet points. If you want to see more, head on over to the official Hearthstone site to read up as much as you possibly can. And honestly, you could go to any fan site and also find plenty of information about the new Hearthstone Championship season.
I just want to say I think it's awesome. I tweeted at Zendesk, Worthun, and I was like, "Dude, this is amazing!" And I wonder how much he had to do with it. I kind of feel like he probably had a lot to do with it, but it's just like props to all the esports people over at Team 5 and Blizzard, because this was exciting news, and it means they're listening to what everyone's saying. Like, they're paying attention. They're not just up in their towers, their ivory towers, just like, we want Trump to be the world champion. Like, that's just not. That's not what's happening.
Hey now, Hearthstone's doing well. I'm sure they could sit in ivory towers if they wanted. It's just that those ivory towers have telephones where people can easily reach them.
Yeah, and they have Twitter, and they're checking their Twitter.
They're checking their Twitter on their awesome ivory tower Wi-Fi.
Yep.
Yeah. No, and I'm absolutely stoked for this too. By the way, don't let my kind of lackluster reaction to the format itself give you any other impression. Overall, I think this many championships broken down into seasons with an insane amount of money, the ability to change the format if it's not particularly great, and the 128 required open spots. This is just awesome. This is absolutely great. This is nothing but good for the most part for Hearthstone.
Yep. Yeah. This is a step towards what we've talked about on this show, which is like similar to what Wizards does, right? Where they kind of control a lot more of what the esports scene looks like rather than just a bunch of people trying to figure it out. And this is kind of what we want. We want this kind of one place where we know this is where we find the best Hearthstone player of the year.
It's always kind of what I wanted. It for the last few years, it seems like Blizzard's been involved in esports, but kind of dancing around the edge. And it's like, if you're going to be involved, get involved. Jump in the middle. I'm going to make like a WoW analogy here. Just do your warrior shout, taunt everyone to you, and say this is how it's going to be done.
Yep. By the way, this is going to make me start I'm going to try hard, man.
You're going to try hard?
I'm going to try hard. Let's get some points. Let's get some
try
points.
Hard, dude.
Yeah. Like, that's $2 million on the line there. I got to try to get some of that.
Hashtag Dills try hard. Try hard Dills.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
We're making a move, people. We're going to do this.
It's happening.
Now, we already talked a decent amount about DreamHack just in our rundown there, but it did happen this past weekend. It was quite the event. It was the first point awarding event for the 2016 season of the Hearthstone Championship. And spoiler alert, purple won. So check that out.
Guy's on a tear.
Yeah.
Yep.
The VODs are up. If you don't like spoilers, well, I already spoiled it for you, but they are not spoiler free. Spoiler free Hearthstone VODs. The subreddit is not up to date. I checked. Sorry guys.
They didn't put them in there yet.
I was trying. It only has day one links in there. So
okay.
I was trying, guys.
Usually they're pretty good about finalizing it within a few days. So just wait. Maybe there's not an available person to work on it yet or something.
Yeah, possibly. But all the VODs are up on the DreamHack YouTube. So definitely go check it out. Lots of League of Explorers cards in there. That makes me real happy. Hearthstone's in a good
there's
place.
Been some cool stuff lately. A tournament that's not in our news section, but was on last night, super late at night. It was on Tempo Storm's Twitch channel. Now I can't even remember what it is. I think they might be playing in China or something. But Firebat was playing Reno Warlock and Mill Rogue with Bran Bronzebeard, like in a tournament and crushing everybody. It was awesome.
Nice.
It was the best thing ever. Yeah.
Is that? I think there's like the Celestial tournaments going
That's
on right
what it
now.
is.
Is
Yeah,
that the
I
one?
think that's what it is. Yeah. But it was just the coolest thing ever to see a whole bunch of weird decks, and he was like killing like just standard old school Druid decks, like that had nothing different, like still all vanilla cards basically. And he was just destroying them left and right. It was awesome. It was really good stuff to see.
Yeah, and if anyone's looking for that,
right,
it is
DreamHack saw a lot of it too. So
yeah, and if anyone's looking for that, it is called the Celestial Invitational, specifically number 1. Number 1.
Invitational number 1. There you go. I think it's like a multi-week thing. Actually, I think that's probably why they're doing that. But,
Right.
Yeah.
That certainly appears to be the case.
Yeah.
We got Firebet and Life Coach advancing first out of Group A.
Sweet.
And it looks like Group B will be tomorrow, and it will be Eloise, Woliver, Surrender, and Jayesha.
Okay.
So.
I'll definitely tune in to see what Eloise is playing these days. She was like number 4 on the ladder when I was watching her the other day, and she's really good. She's playing awesome.
Yeah. Just a reminder, the Ruin City League of Explorers Third Wing is opening this week. We, didn't have it last week. Everyone was taking it off for Thanksgiving, including Hearthstone. So this was going to bring in a bunch of Murlocs, like Dills was saying. He's waiting for the Murloc to drop, which sounds like some bad pop song from Azeroth. So this means we'll be getting Sir Finley Murgleton, who I'm very excited for as a Shaman player. We're also be getting Every Fin is Awesome, and Any Fin Can Happen. To puntastic spells.
There's a lot of other uses for Sir Finley. Like I was talking about this, so that my Reno Warlock deck with my Dread Steeds, I was playing Sideshow Spell Eater because at a certain point you don't want to tap anymore, and so you would rather have any other, hero power. But Sir Finley's even better to do this because I don't have to take the other guys. I could choose out of three which one might be the new best one.
One of 3.
Yeah.
Which I want to make.
This might replace Spell Eater for me now. Like, this is so good.
It's a 1-drop, and he's a Murloc with a monocle.
Yeah.
How could you not want to play this?
I want to make the Sir Finley and like deck where I do that, and then I play what's his face, and I make my hero power even better.
Justicar?
Justicar Trueheart.
Like I want to. Like I want to do that just to be weird in a deck. Like, first of all, I pick whatever hero power that's not mine, and then I Justicar that crap, and I have I'm healing for 4 or whatever.
And then
in my
nothing
Shaman
but
deck.
Inspire cards.
yeah, totally. It's so good.
It's like, this is the deck I always wanted after TGT came out, but I didn't have Sir Finley.
Yeah.
That's so great. I was totally checking Hearthhead to see if they had data mined the sound effects for Sir Finley, but alas, they have not yet. Probably because he's not in the game. But I was hoping maybe somehow they'd gotten a hold of him. But I guess I'll have to save you guys from the Murloc sounds for this week. But next episode,
Next week.
you're all in trouble.
Yep.
So before we move into the strategies, let's thank our awesome patrons. There's so many of you guys now, well over 500. We really do appreciate the support. If you enjoy the show, if you like what we're doing, head on over to patreon.com/TAC and check it out. We're doing the call-in episode tomorrow. We're doing the Brawl episode this Thursday, all thanks to our patrons. And this week we wanted to thank Manuel N., Rob M., Jimmy S., Joe J., and Jared B. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. We really do appreciate it. Now, let's talk some strategy.
Hit it very hard.
Wanna blow something up? Time to pay!
Well, we've got a week off from new cards in League of Explorers. I don't know why I always forget what comes after League of, because I'm in the back of my head, it's like, don't say Extraordinary Gentlemen. Don't say Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I thought you were going to go with Legends. Like, you can't stop saying League of Legends.
No. It's just for whatever reason. Probably because I don't play League of Legends. My brain doesn't naturally
Yeah, it doesn't
go
just
there.
enter the back of your head. Yeah.
Yeah, now if it was Defense of the something, I might go Ancients. Don't say Ancients. Don't say Ancients. But
Defense of the Explorers.
Exactly.
See, I think League of Legions just from watching Casey Tron, and if you don't
League
watch
of
Casey Tron,
Legions?
that means, yeah, she purposely says everything.
Oh,
It's
wow.
pretty funny.
That's great. I'm like, what is that like when the new WoW expansion accidentally becomes self-aware and takes over League of Legends?
She plays League of Legions. She likes to use her mana.
Gotcha.
She's a gamer.
You know what League of Legends is when WoW takes it over? It's just that scene in the trailer for the Arena for Heroes of the Storm where it's nothing but Illidan's all fighting each other.
Yeah, that's the League of Legions.
Yeah, there you go. Well, since we've got the week off from new cards, we thought we would talk about Arena and kind of where it is at right now. now that we're in the middle of League of Explorers releasing. TGT's been out for quite a while. And I guess kind of the most interesting thing is that when Ben Bro was on, dear God, 21 episodes ago now, and let us know that, with the release of TGT, there was a pick bonus where we would be seeing more TGT cards more often in Arena. That bonus is now gone, so everything is now all cards from all sets we are seeing at the same chance of it popping up as a pick.
Yeah, so there's going to be a 25% bonus to League of Explorers cards, but that bonus is not going to come into play until all the wings are available.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, so it makes sense to a certain extent because there's not that many cards, so it would be weird if you're just seeing a ton of the first wing, right? And that's just getting offered over and over and over again. Would feel a little bit annoying. But it is always, it's also slightly less anyway, just because there are less cards. So I think the way that it actually applies this bonus is first it checks to see whether it's a legendary, a common, a rare, an epic pick, with all three of them, which there's a percentage based on that too. It's 70 something percent for common, and then it's 1% for legendary, whatever. And that's repeating, right? So that happens every time you pick. It's roll and see if it's that. Then it'll say roll to see if it's a class card or a non-class card. Then it'll roll to see if it's a League of Explorers card or whatever. It's then it's start rolling on the actual card. So I think there's multiple steps to the process where it actually gives. And it probably be good to have Merps or somebody on to actually, because they've done the math. At some point, I would like to have him on to ask him this question, because I know that they have actually delved into this, because it is an interesting thing and it helps you kind of understand what's left that you might be presented with. So, but I think that's how it works. So it's you're not going to see it as much as you were seeing the TGT cards because there are already so many of them. So I felt I was seeing Bolster all the time on Warrior, right? And I'm not seeing the Fierce Monkey all the time on Warrior, even though, of course, we're not getting the bonus. But when there's only 2 common cards, I don't think it's going to every time it's common, one of them will be one of those 2. It's that doesn't quite make sense. So anyway, the meta has shifted a lot just because of the fact that we got rid of the TGT bonus. First of all, it's kind of interesting. So without even the new cards being added in to the mix, just that we've removed that has changed quite a bunch of things. So I want to point out Paladin was a ridiculous class because of Murloc Knight. And Murloc Knight has now fallen back into regular amounts of picks. So
yeah. Now, granted, it's still a common. It's still
common.
Very likely you will find one, but not as incredibly likely as it used to be.
Well, you used to see decks with 4 and 5 pretty often.
Yep.
And it was kind of all over the place. I got 4 Murloc Knights and I just crushed everything in my path. So that's going to go away a little bit. Also, another OP card, I think, in Arena is Seal of Champions. In Arena, Seal of Champions is going to make cards 3 for 2 or 3 for 1 sometimes. In a lot of ways, it's going to give you reach to kill people. It just gives you so much damn value that it's just an amazing card. When you think about in Arena, the tempo-based game of Arena, even if you put that on your 1/1 and then you kill something with 4 health with it, and then say the mage pings your 1/1 on the or your 4/1 on the next turn, you've also still taken away that 2 mana from them on their next turn. So you used 1 card on a hero power token to kill or whatever, and then you cause them to use their hero power the next turn, where maybe they would rather have played a 5/5 drop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but they have to kill the thing.
Can you give me just a second? Joss dropped out, and it's doing that weird thing where she called and it killed any view of you that exists, but I'm still talking to you.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to shut down Skype entirely because Skype is garbage and restart it. Just give me a
Call
sec.
me back. Call me back.
Wow. Skype, you are trash. Quit Skype, damn it. When in doubt, Control-Alt-Delete. I feel like I should dance or something. You back, Dills?
Yep. How are we
Cool.
doing?
Well, we're kind of doing good. Jocelyn hasn't picked up yet,
Uh-oh.
but I'm gonna.
Canada broke. Canada is broken.
While I'm thinking about it, not much I can do for the video version, but I'm gonna make a note of this in the timestamp and see if I can fix it in the podcast version. Jocelyn, are you here? It's saying she's in the call, but
Yeah, I see that too.
yeah.
Damn it, Canada. Figure it out.
May just need to go on without her,
Uh-oh.
which is unfortunate. Just going to remove her from the group, and I'm going to have to fix the overlay, which means doing one of these, which is dumb. And I'll just have to add her back in maybe if she...
Yeah, hopefully. I definitely blame Canada for this one.
When in doubt, blame Canada.
Yep. By the way, I keep forgetting to do the thing that you were talking about with the making my background all cool for the show. Gotta do that, man. All right, I'm making a note of this. Make sure I don't forget again. Remind me to figure out how to make OBS super cool for the shows.
Okay, I'll remind you.
Cool. She's going to remind me.
Alrighty. I guess let's just jump back in.
Let's do it.
Cool. We are back. We lost Jocelyn. Don't know what's going on. We'll see if we can get her back. Anyway, Stills, you were going on a long point that I now forget where you left off.
I was talking about Paladins and how they don't have as many Murloc Knights and Seal of Champions. So
There
that's
you go.
good. Because Paladins were a little OP. Rogues also are not going to get quite as many Buccaneers and Undercity Valiants, which I think Rogue is very strong, but strong only in like the best players' hands because it's a really tricky class to play. But this is still also positive, I think, because turns out Undercity Valiant was really, really good. The ability to ping for 1 in Arena is actually incredibly strong. And the ability to turn your weapon into a 2-attack weapon just without a card, essentially, just press a button, get a 2-attack weapon with Buccaneer is amazing. And it forces everyone, like if you played a Buccaneer on turn 1, it forced them to not do what they wanted to do their next turn. They were now forced to like coin ping Buccaneer and stuff like that. Like really powerful stuff when you think about what that means in a tempo-based game, right? Is you waste their coin and their first turn on just pinging, and then now I have the initiative back. It's just kind of sets you up for a win, right? It's that snowball effect that you get in Arena. So that card going away. Flame Lance and Spell Slingers are the mage ones. Mage is the other very powerful class. So they didn't get quite hit as hard because those weren't such powerful cards. But Mage is fine anyway. Mages, I think, just they're doing fine. Don't worry about Mages.
You know, I haven't been playing a lot of Arena really at all, and I dove in pretty hard today. And Mage is still incredibly infuriating to play against. It is just as infuriating playing against a Mage as it was in vanilla Hearthstone for me.
I agree, because they still have the most powerful hero power in Arena, like by far. The fact that it goes past taunts, that they don't take damage applying it. You know, yes, the rogue hero power is kind of a 2-for-1, but a lot of times you'll be playing rogue and you're just like, oh my god, I'm at 14. Like, how did this happen? It's like, oh, because I kept using my hero power to get 1 extra damage over the first like 6 turns, and now I'm just dead. And then a mage goes, haha, fireball, fireball, you're dead. And also, of course, things like flame strike, fireball, frostbolts, like just so much good stuff. The fact is that they're more diluted now than they ever were, you know, because there's so many more cards. So it's less likely that you're going to get the ridiculous stuff we saw in vanilla, like the 4 flame strike mages and stuff like that. But still, it's a common card, so you're going to see it quite a bit. But I actually think with League of Explorers, we're going to see mages go slightly back above paladins, because paladins got, you know, they did get some cool stuff. I really think that Keeper of Oldemon is a very, very good card, especially in Arena, where it's like you can turn someone's Boulder Fist Ogre into a 3/3. Like, that's going to be really, really good. But I think that Ethereal Conjure is like a sleeper. I think that card is just that card's gonna be so good. Like a lot of times in Arena too, like the low health on a body isn't as impactful as it is in Constructed, where everybody's running all the premium removal. In Arena, a lot of times they just won't have a way to deal 3 damage, you know? So you play a nice body and draw a spell and get to pick the spell that's going to be the best for you in the next, scenario, the next turn. That's so good, man.
Yeah,
So,
I went up against an Ethereal Conjurer in one of the 2 mages that I saw back-to-back upon hitting 5 wins in a row today in Arena, like you do. And it is a very strong card.
yeah. No, I mean, a lot of times you're going to be able to get some burn out of it or something useful, right? Because you're able to get whatever spell out of 3. So there's some really cool cards too that I think that are out now that are going to make a big difference. Oh, another thing too is let me point this out. But Warriors got a slight buff by getting rid of this 25% thing, because now they're not going to see Bolster as much. So that's really good, because Bolster was when it was flooding your picks with Bolster. It was really frustrating to play Warrior. Sometimes I would get my first early picks and I'd be like, should I just take the Annoyotron because I know I'm going to get Bolster? Like, should I just try to make a Taunt Warrior deck? And that's the worst. Like, no, you shouldn't. But it would be so frustrating to get Bolster picks, like, constantly. So the fact that they're getting rid of that is going to be really good for Warrior. You're going to see Warrior be a little bit more competitive just because Bolster's not going to be so prevalent all the time. And, of course, the Monkey's pretty good, too. So, speaking of that, Warriors have already 2 cards that you are getting offered in Arena that are what I consider good cards, and that is the Fierce Monkey and the Obsidian Destroyer. The Destroyer is a card that looks at first glance like it's not great because, dies to Big Game Hunter, blah, 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 whatever. But if you think about it, it's an 8/8 for 7, which is already like high value if you think about it, right? You get a 7/7 and a 1/1 the turn you play it.
Yep.
So even there, it's pretty good. And then if they don't have a Big Game Hunter, which they usually won't, they'll have to run some minions in, but they're going to have to get through a 1/1 first. And that's actually really tough to deal with. I've had a bunch of situations where, well, not a bunch, but a couple, because I don't play that many Warriors.
You don't play a couple Warriors, and you're probably not seeing a lot of Warriors.
No, that's the thing. I'm still not seeing very many of them. They're still, people are going to pick Paladin more often. But I have faced it a couple of times now, and it's really annoying. It comes down, and you go like, this has to go. It's one of those cards, like, I must get rid of this, right? It's a huge threat. It's going to deal 7 damage to my face a turn if I can't kill it. But it's just so hard to kill when you don't have all the tools that you really want, So that card is awesome, and I really think it's going to be a high value pick for a long time. And then the Fierce Monkey is just a good 3-drop in a world that doesn't have a lot of good 3-drops. So,
and in a class that really doesn't have a lot of great 3-drops.
And in a class that has bad minions and just relies on weapons. Yeah, for sure. One thing I will say about Warriors do have this one cool thing where their removal spells get to swing twice, right? So, think about what Warrior weapons are, and you think that I can decide, based on how the game is going, based on what the texture of this game is, whether I'm going to swing face with these weapons or if I'm going to remove minions. And that's something that other classes don't get to do, because the Fireball gets 1 hit. And I use it, and it's done. It's gone. It's out of my hand. I don't have a Fireball anymore. But if I play an Arcanite Reaper, I get to hit something, and then on the next turn, I got 5 more damage that I can go face with for 0 mana, right? So they have that going for them.
If they don't have taunt.
Yes. Like, so they have, but I mean, I'm saying, like, their removal is flexible in that way. So if they could just get a few cards that kind of complement what their hero power does without it being like just shield slam, their hero power just sucks so much. That's what really takes them out of anything. The weapons they have actually are amazing. They just don't have any way to utilize their armor or their hero power unless they get a very specific epic card called Shield Slam. And outside of that, like, what are you doing with your armor? You're just trying not to die.
It'd be really interesting if Warriors ever got some type of mechanic akin to how Overload affects a very few slim minions. Like, you overload and a minion gets buffed. It'd be interesting if that happened with armoring up. Anytime you gain armor.
Well, they have the one card, but I think that's also a rare, right? It's like the Siege Engine or something. It gains attack whenever you gain armor. And
I'm sorry, I completely forgot about Siege Engine.
But that's not. It's got to be a common. This is the thing about Arena. Like, it's not going to impact Arena until it's a common. So the fact that Shield Slam is an epic and that card is a rare, they're really not going to be around much enough to do anything. So
Let me rephrase that. Wouldn't it be cool if there were more cards like Siege Engine?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Hey, I mean, here's the thing. No one's playing Siege Engine in Constructed, and no one's playing it in Arena.
No one's seeing it in Arena.
It's not that weird to like forget that card is a thing. Like,
yeah.
I do this all the time in Hearthstone where I'm like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if there's a card that does that? Oh, there's a card that does that. Oh, but it sucks. Oh, that's why. Okay. Like,
wouldn't it be cool if there was a playable card that did that?
Yeah. And then Warlock, I really like the Dark Peddler in Arena that they got. I know I've had people coming at me left and right telling me about how Dark Peddler is the best card that's ever happened in the game. I stick by my story that it doesn't cheat the mana ever, and that's what makes it weaker like than other class cards that cost 2 and are 2/2s. You know, like, yes, it is very cool.
Let it go, man. It's a good card. Just let it go.
Well,
it's
it's a good card in certain situations, but I would much rather have a card for 2 mana that just bubbles itself. I would much rather have that. That is better. That is just better. That being said, I also, if people paid attention on that episode we talked about it, I also said Warlock cards should be technically worse because their hero power is so much better than everybody else's. So Dark Peddler is where it's supposed to be, and it's a good Warlock card where it's supposed to be. And I think it's a great card in Arena because value cards in Arena are just awesome. Like, and this is a value card. It's not a tempo card. It's a value card. It's a, you play a card, you play a 2/2 for 2 on turn 2. That's a loss in tempo compared to what else you could play. But you gain value by automatically drawing a card right away and being able to choose what that card is. Yes, it's a 1 mana card, so whatever. But like, think about on turn 3, a lot of times we'll be able to play 2 minions on turn 3. So that's a good value card right there too as well. And that can also be a good tempo play in that situation. So it's a cool card because it fits, like, it kind of covers 2 parts of your curve when you're talking about Arena. And Arena curve is like king, if you curve out and you play like a good tempo game, you're going to win most of the time. And when you have Dark Peddler, you're like, oh, I have a 2-drop, and I kind of also have a 3-drop if I want to think about that. Like, it can slot this in both turns and do cool stuff with it. So It's a great card for Arena for sure, and it's common. Keeper of Oldemon is another fantastic card right now.
Love this card so much.
Are you putting it in just like your mid-range Paladin and Constructed?
I haven't really been playing a whole lot of Paladin at the moment. I'm still in love with, thanks to you, Reno Lock that has Dreadsteeds in it.
It's so good.
It is. It is really freaking good. On top of being obscenely fun.
Yeah, it's like the funnest deck you'll ever play in your life. Yeah. So Keeper of Oldemon, for people who don't know, it's a 3/4 for 4 that turns something else into a 3/3. It doesn't remove any of the text or anything like that, so it's not quite like when I first saw the card, I was like, "Oh, Tink Master!" Like, no. But it doesn't. Yeah, it's like getting rid of Death Rattles or any of that. No effects are going away. But it does allow you to, in Arena, do specific things. One is like, let's say they play a Yeti on turn 4. And now it's my turn 4. And I play Keeper of Oldemon and turn their Yeti into a 3/3. Like, now I have a 3/4 going up against their 3/3. There's also situations where you just need one of your 1/1 tokens to be a 3/3 to kill something.
Exactly. This is a Paladin specific minion, and its battle cry is it's a tool. It's such a great tool because there's so many different ways you can use it, and because of the way that the Paladin's hero power works, it makes this battle cry even all the more better for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't. But when we say it doesn't like transform the card, doesn't take away any effects. You do this to one of your 1/1s, it still can attack. It doesn't start sleeping. Like, it's available to attack that turn. So it was a 1/1, I turned into a 3/3, and now it can swing away right then and there. So this card has a lot of utility and a lot of really good uses, and it's a common. The problem here is that Paladin's already had a crap ton of really good 4s that are commons. So this is another 4-cost card for Paladins that's a common. So now it's like, you're going to look at Paladin Arena decks, and you're going to see like, oh, I had a True Silver and a Consecrate and a Murloc Knight and a Keeper of Oldemon, and you're just like, oh my god.
You're going to be, if you're not paying attention while you're drafting, you're going to notice that 4-bar just quickly shooting up through the roof and being like, oh wait, crap, I need to curve. I need a curve.
Yeah,
here.
I need some 2s and 3s and
I don't need a camel hump. I need a curve.
Yeah. You get the middle finger when you play the Paladin. That's a curve every time. The other cool card for Arena that we got is Mounted Raptor. I'm really excited for Mounted Raptor, which is the Druid card. It is 3/2 for 3. which sounds bad, but it's kind of like reverse harvest golem, where instead of always dropping a 2/1, it's going to drop a random 1-drop, and sometimes you're going to get some awesome stuff out of that. And the other fact is it's a beast, so it's going to actually buff a couple of the other cool beast kind of cards that you get in Druid, which were previously like really hard to draft. You know, the snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? Like that guy was always like a card you kind of shied away from because it was hard to get beasts. It's easier than ever to get beasts now in Druid, and that card like is instantly better, and especially because the beasts you're going to get are going to be actually kind of okay. Mounted Raptor is actually a pretty good card, so that I'm really excited for. And then we already mentioned Ethereal Conjurer. This card is just, I don't know, man. This card is so good. I mean, adding a spell to your deck or to your hand and being able to decide what it is after a selection of 3. I think people looked at this card and saw the body and just went like, oh no, this isn't good. But when you think about what it does, like a spell is so damn useful, and the body is fine. It's a threat body, right? I think it's a 5/3.
It's a 6/3.
A 6/3. So like the threat of 6 damage a turn to your face means it must be removed, and then you still already got value even if they removed it, right? So I think this card is going to really be like a top pick for mages for a long time to come.
Yeah, and you're a mage. It's not unheard of that you might have a pretty solid board state come turn 5. You
Sure,
have a lot of
absolutely.
removal. There's a chance your opponent may not have something on board already to deal with this, and they don't have removal in hand. They're going to be in trouble because that's a lot of damage you're staring down. And when you're going against a mage, taking any damage is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, you really are always scared of burn against the mage. But yeah, so 6/3, and it's discover a spell. So that's going to be a class-specific spell as far as I know. I've played it a few times. I've only ever seen mage spells.
Well, that's how
But
discover works. It can't be anything but
it
a
can't
mage
be.
spell.
It can't be but I've always only seen spells. But think of what mage spells are, right? Like, oh, I didn't draft the Flame Strike. Okay, well now I got one. Like I discovered it with my Ethereal Conjurer. Like,
Well, first of all, then you're just the most unlucky person in the world if that actually happened to you. But no, Ethereal Conjurer, really good card.
there's
Lost
not a
the
bad mage spell out there, really, except for a couple of secrets, and I'll just not choose those, and I'll choose the other stuff.
I was on a hot streak today, man. I was 5-0. Bam, go up against the mage. She drops this. Things did not go well.
Yeah. It's just one of those cards that's it's so value and it's a threat at the same time. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that's coming soon, but these are the cards that are already kind of out there. And of course, when you're talking arena, you're talking about the basics most of the time because that's what you're going to be playing with mostly. So I will say this about just kind of an overall gist of how the arena meta has shifted. I think it's squeezed up a little bit. I think we're, before, like with the last release with TGT, I felt like what happened was the top 3 got better. So, mages, paladins, and rogues all got better. And everybody else kind of stayed, and there wasn't a lot of movement down below. So it was like the rich got richer, and they just paced themselves even more. But so far from the first couple wings of League of Explorers, I feel like it's already tightened things up, and it's shifted things in a good way, where the worst classes are even closer now to the top classes. And even though, like Keeper of Voldemort is a great card, I don't think it's like, this isn't Murloc Knight. This isn't what happened when we got Murloc Knight and Paladins just went crazy. This isn't what happened when Paladins got Muster for Battle and just went even more crazy. Like this card is within the normal power level and not way above what everybody else got. And it's gotten really competitive. And I'm seeing more and more like druids. I'm seeing more warlocks. I'm just seeing a lot more variety, which is what we just wanted as arena players. We didn't care that mages were really strong. What we cared about was that we never saw warrior. We never saw priest. We never saw warlock, and that sucked. We just want variety, man. That's all.
Yeah, I for the most part, I like what I've seen in arena so far. Like I said, little salty at mages, kind of sitting there going, yeah, you're a real original. Congratulations.
I mean, I think that if anything, mages might have been bumped back up to the top spot, but I think time will tell. We need to really see how this all shakes out over the next month or so.
Yeah. I'm hoping to see warrior come up. I'm really excited to play shaman right now. That's the deck I'm running right now that I have my hot streak on. Now I'm about to tap out thanks to mages, but it's a really fun deck. It helped that I got 3 hexes and a Doctor Boom. But
wow. Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You see, Hex was always like one of the best cards anyway. But one thing I do like is about the Tunnel Trog is that it makes you not shy away from some of the overload cards. Whereas before, when you'd play Shaman, you'd be like, well, I really want to take, the Dire Alpha, whatever. Is like, I want to take that. I want to take Totem Golem, but I just can't. Like, it's going to suck for me. And now it's like, oh, wait a minute. I could have like the best opener ever. I could go Tunnel Trog into Totem Golem and just crush everyone in my path. Right, Jocelyn?
Right, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I knew she would agree with me.
Crush those people. Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Did not just have to run like 75 feet of networking cable from the basement or anything.
That sounds exciting.
You were trying to do this on
75
Wi-Fi.
feet? Shouldn't you say how many meters that is? What the hell?
I don't know how many meters that is.
Wait,
what?
What?
Canada.
Cable is all in feet. I don't know.
That's because nobody who actually sells cable and figures that shit out in meters. Come on, man.
I thought you guys used nothing but the metric system up there. All right.
Oh no, there's a mix.
Okay. Oh, it's a mix. That's even worse. That's even
I know,
worse
it's
than what we
terrible.
do. At least we're consistent.
We're consistent with our every large
Yeah, we're
unit is
consistent
made
with
up
our
of 12 smaller units for some reason instead of 10.
Oh.
I would like to divide this into 12. Thank you.
But why? 'Cause America. Move on.
Because the king must die. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, no reason for it, right? It's so stupid.
Because the king hates 12. He hates it. Well, awesome. I think so. Arena's I think Arena's in a pretty awesome place at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, Warrior still needs a little work, but it's definitely much better than it used to be. I like it. I like it a lot. Now,
yeah, it's a step in the right direction, and after we talked to the guys, the balance guys and the design guys at BlizzCon, I was really excited about their mindset about Arena, and it's kind of coming true. Like the way that they are not like it felt like it was being ignored, and so a lot of people were making big sweeping statements about how Blizzard hates Arena, but it's very clear that it's not being ignored. It's just things kind of happen in a timeline, and it might not happen in the timeline you wish it did, but we're getting there, and here we kind of are, like it's happening. So
yeah.
I also feel like it's harder to get 12 wins now, man. Just
Dude,
because of the fact the other classes are better.
I'm ready to put a hole in my wall. Okay, I'm getting real angry. Getting real angry at these damn mages. 'Cause I feel like I'd have no issue doing it real damn well if I just picked mage every time I saw it, but I don't always want to pick mage.
No, exactly. Yeah, come on, that's just cheating. Mages cheat. We know that.
But when it goes well, it's just like, oh, well, I guess I'm gonna look at nothing but mages for the next probably only 3 games, because they're gonna frostbolt and they're gonna remove everything else, and then it's 7 flame strikes gonna happen and I lose.
Yeah, like I can't play any of my creatures because he'll kill them all with flame strike.
Yep.
Feels bad, man. By the way, Mitsula has a good question here. Do Canadian Arena players have to win 14 games due to exchange rates and metric conversions?
Yes, actually they do.
I'm really not sure. I've never made it that far. So
Okay.
But
the ceiling of Arena is a mystery.
Like,
to me.
I don't know. They could have like
Probably.
Who knows?
yeah, but they also get to lose 1 more game. They have up to 4 losses.
Oh, they get 4 losses.
Yeah.
What?
But you have to apologize to your opponent for the 3rd loss to unlock that fourth potential loss.
Oh my god.
Before we move into crazy game stories, let's thank Squarespace.com for sponsoring the Angry Chicken. You can use the offer code TAC over at Squarespace to get 10% off your first order. AMove.tv and all of the shows are built on the back of Squarespace, so go check them out.
Yep. Squarespace actually just helped Jocelyn run cable to bring her back to the show, by the way.
They did. They're
So thank you for that,
incredibly. They're so
Squarespace.
cordial.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we almost lost Jocelyn, then Squarespace to the rescue.
They just showed up at my door and were like, "We heard you needed cable, so here."
We were just
from
watching the
Squarespace."
show, and we have 75 feet of cable that we thought might be handy. So thanks for that, Squarespace. That was cool of you.
Somebody at the office got really happy with their Amazon Prime account, and we have too much of this now. So
Oh my God, it's Cyber Monday. I can't be on the show, by the way. Holy crap, I gotta go. Never mind.
I have a 300-foot Ethernet cable left over from the wedding, so that we could give the DJ internet access in case anyone requested something he did not already have.
Well, we should donate that to Squarespace so they can help more damsels in distress.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
Wonderful.
You know that's what they do.
Yep.
That's all they do.
That's all
it
they
is
do.
all they do.
Have you ever seen Squarespace and Superman in the same place? I think not.
It's time for crazy game.
The S stands for Squarespace on his chest. Sorry.
The whole world's gone crazy.
You're in trouble now.
You got it!
The S stands for really, Bills.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay, cool. You can send your crazy game stories to tacpodcast@gmail.com. That's tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our crazy game story today comes to us from Jesse, who writes, had a great battle that proves you have to be prepared for anything, even on ladder. Even on ladder. I'm always...
Even?
What?
Yeah.
Do you go into ladder unprepared?
Comparing to arena where like actually
I see.
literally anything can happen.
All right,
Yeah.
fair enough. Oh, I see his point here. Okay, all right, cool. He says, I was playing Tempo Mage against a pretty standard secret pally. I managed to dismantle both mysterious challengers and we fought to a standstill. Now, late in the game, both of us had empty hands and 16 health when out of nowhere, he drops Deathwing. I top deck Nexus Champion Sarad, throw him down with a ping, and hope the RNG is kind. I get the priest's spell Convert, which I totally forgot existed. FYI, it lets you choose an enemy minion on the field to copy into your hand. I copy Deathwing and await my fate. Thinking he has me beat, my opponent plays another minion, goes face with Deathwing to bring me to 4 health, and ignores my 4 attack Nexus Champion Sarad. After going face with Sarad, bringing him 12 health, I drop Deathwing, clearing the board and leaving me with lethal next turn. With apparently no way to counter, he was forced to concede. So there you have it. Keep an eye out for that new Deathwing meta.
Okay. I've tinkered with playing Deathwing in so many decks because if you do play a deck that drops your hand a lot, it seems really good, right? Like the super aggressive Secret Paladin that plays Divine Favor. It seems perfect for a Deathwing. Whoever this guy played was a genius. Unfortunately, he also didn't pay attention to you playing Convert, I guess. Like,
I
That
totally
was
forgot
kinda
that was a card as well. I'm not gonna lie. If I saw that come out of Sarad, I'd just be like, do what now?
Convert, I thought it was cool when I read it, but no one actually uses it. Copy it into your hand. Oh, that's interesting.
I remember when we first looked at that, I was like, okay, why?
I'm pretty sure your first reaction...
milkshake deck, dude, milkshake. And I'm like, it doesn't even kill it though. You just copy it.
You just
and then,
get one.
It's still-
but then you still have to play it.
and then I still have to pay for it when I want to
Yeah.
play it.
Hey,
Yeah.
man, you play Thought Steal in your milkshake deck. It's the same.
Yeah, but that gives me
Basic
2
concept.
cards, and I don't know. Yeah, it is like against an aggro deck. That card is going to suck. Like you're just like, oh, I'll pay 2 mana to copy your Leper Gnome. Cool, but I guess I should do it because I need to do something with it. But yeah. This is what I love about cards like Nexus Champion, to a lesser extent, Piloted Shredder and that kind of stuff is crazy game stories can happen, right? Just on ladder, normal ladder. These are cards that actually get played. Nexus Champion Sarad is a card that it was in Hot Form's deck in the World Championships. It's a good card. So yeah, Jesse brings up a good point. Got to be ready for anything, even on the ladder.
Absolutely. Now let's take a couple emails.
Hello?
Hello, it's me.
Hello?
Just quickly, do you get my message?
Yep.
Oh,
Hello, brother.
You can send your emails to the same place, tacpodcast@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from Eric, who has a beautifully short email. He writes, Hi, I have just started listening to the show and I love it. While listening to your latest Tavern Brawl episode, I had this idea. What if instead of following the normal mana curve 1 to 10, you have a reversed one, 10 to 1? I love it. Let's do it.
We just broke Dills.
I love this idea.
It's so good. What do you do though when you get to 1? Do you just have 1 mana the rest of the game?
Yeah.
This is so cool
It's-
because you
you
would
have
just
to
have
build
to
a
have
reverse
like
curve.
a ton of 1 mana cards. Like the whole entire deck pretty much would just have to be 1-drops. But then what happens when you get all your 1-drops at the beginning and then you pull like a 5 mana card when you're past having 5 mana? Like, this is crazy.
Oh,
I love
God.
this.
Are there enough basic cards that cost 1 mana that this wouldn't be a detriment to free-to-play players?
Oh God, I would rather it cycle back to 10. I think, honestly.
Yeah, you want to go down to 1 and
Yeah,
back
I
up
wanted to go
10?
all the way down to 1 and then back to 10 and then go back down again. Like I wanted to cycle
It's a
because I
roller
wanted
coaster.
to be able to play like like I don't know if we're just all playing 1-cost cards.
Yeah.
Then what do we do on turn 1? I empty my hand. Then you empty your hand. Then I play 1 card for 9 minutes on the next turn.
It would be like
Oh my god.
oh crap, what is that ancestral whatever druid gives you 10 mana right away thing but gets rid of your hand?
Oh yeah, that would be interesting too. You
Astral
wait
Communion?
until you got to
Astral
Ancestral
Communion, thank you.
Wait till you get to turn 4, then play that, and then be like, ha ha ha! You're going down to 1, and I'm back to 10.
Yeah, Druid would just win.
Yeah, that would be crazy too. But okay, so Warlock would be broken because every turn I would be able to tap and get another 1 mana card and play 2 of them a turn. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be
Well, no.
still though super
'cause
cool
you-
idea. Blizzard, you can figure out how to make
Well,
this work
not-
without it.
Not
And it's
necessarily,
Brawl, it
Dills.
doesn't have to be balanced.
If you got down to 1, no one would be able to use their hero power, including warlocks. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
true.
If it just stayed on 1, yeah. But at least I would have drawn a bunch more before then. I don't know. That's just weird, man.
I'd like to see a version that is ripping on Magic, where our mana bars are taken away, and your deck has like a bunch of mana cards slotted into it. So you need to play mana cards to play any
Oh, that'd be cool.
Hearthstone
Oh,
cards.
wow.
Like
That'd be
0
interesting.
cost mana crystal?
Yeah, just like mana crystal cards, and you have to play
But
them.
you have to use decide when to use them.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You'd have to have a bigger deck too, or a lower health pool.
Right,
If you're taking up
Give
slots.
them to
with-
you.
would
Like they do
probably
with,
have to be pre-made decks, I would assume, for the easiest way in my head that this would work. But yeah, it'd have to be above a 30-card limit.
So what would happen if you played whatchamacallit, Wild Growth, like on turn 9? Would you then go to 10 in the next turn and then you'd go back to 9? So like
Well,
it
you'd
would like
still
slow your
lose-
decay by 1 turn.
Yeah.
Well, you'd stay at 9 because you'd gain a crystal,
Oh
but
yeah,
then you'd lose
you
a
gain
crystal.
and then
so
the next turn
you'd
you'd
stay
go
at
back
9.
to that, whatever
Yeah.
that was. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But it would like slow your decay
Exactly.
Mhm.
for
Which
a little
would
bit. So
be
essentially it would give
super-
you like, if you played it early, it would give you like 8 extra mana or something like that.
So basically,
This is too complicated. I
this
can't
is-
Yeah,
even
what
think
if you
about
got to
this.
just like turn 10? So you got all the way down to like 1 mana, and then it's just like you just die. That's it. That's the end. Like the tunnel escape thing, or the minecart or
just
whatever. Like you have
trying
a
to
certain
kill
number
them
of
before you
turns,
die?
and then you
Oh,
get down to
God.
0 mana and you just die.
so many
you have
games
to
would
kill
end
your-
in a draw.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, speaking of this, I have an idea for a brawl, and also it's this already works as just a friendly game or a game to play on the ladder if you're really sadistic, or in casual if you just want to have some fun. And that is you play the Suicide Priest deck that I played on ladder the other night. The whole point of the deck is I don't let you kill me, I kill me. So
You can't fire me. I quit.
yeah,
Exactly.
So you play the combination of Akanai Soul Priest and Reno Jackson, and you basically just stall, get the 10 mana, play the Akanai, play the Reno, and then click oops, and then die, and then laugh and move on to the next game.
Don't say oops, man. Thank them before you do it.
Yeah, exactly. But here's so as we were playing it, it was funny because it was actually really hard to not let the other guy kill me and actually kill myself. Because everyone was like just killing me, and I'm like, no, wait, I gotta get to my combo.
It's gonna be so great, you
I
guys.
have to kill myself. And then we started to think about it. We're like in chat, and we're like, oh, well, we should just do a tournament of this, where the whole point of the tournament is to try to kill yourself and not let anybody kill you, right? So there's 2 win conditions. One is kill the other guy or kill yourself. So it's just whoever gets the last blow on either hero.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of
so,
cool.
yeah, so you have to figure out, like, should I be attacking his face? Because if I get him too low, he might be able to combo himself down. Like, so it got really weird and stuff. So they could do a Tavern Brawl like this, too. It'd be awesome.
No,
Like,
so
the whole point is to kill yourself.
what
in
the
tavern.
hell would you call it?
Suicide Squad? Clearly.
Lovely.
But it was super
What else
fun.
would you call it?
So I've got like a thing up where if I get a certain donation level, we're gonna do a milkshake tournament, and then once that's done, my next one I'm gonna do a suicide tournament. We're gonna make this happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be epic.
How are you gonna keep track of that though?
What do
Like
you mean?
who got the last blow?
Well, the players will have to report it just like any other tournament.
Yeah, but any other tournament, it's really easy to handle
to
disputes.
tell who won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So if someone's a jerk, then I'll just kick him out of the tournament. If someone's like, screw that.
I don't see how that'd be any harder than a regular tournament. You could
I mean,
see who
if
dealt
you-
lethal either to themselves or to the opponent.
Yeah, you could look at the left and see who actually did the lethal. I mean, they could
Oh, yeah, 'cause I guess
screenshot
it would be red or blue.
they could screenshot right before it, and then they could screen. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty,
but
Dills.
it's happening. It's happening. Suicide tournament is happening.
Dills, would you like to take the next email, which is calling into question Jocelyn's selection of emails based on length?
Okay.
This is a really, really good email, and this
Okay.
is why I put it in. I actually broke it into 2 parts because this is really good.
Jesus. This better be good. All right. Ryan says, "Well met, Gander of Gripers." Good start. Good start, Ryan. Good start.
There's no time for commentary. Keep going, man.
I've heard the tag conversation steered towards various confusions about battle cries, secrets, death rows, etc. quite a bit. Oh, God, no, I don't want to read this email. This guy who came into my chat the other day, we had a whole thing, because this is a whole thing about calling us out about being wrong, where I already had this conversation with this guy. What do you guys read this email? I'm tapping out of this email.
All right. This is the actual ordering of general gameplay, dumbed down a bit for ease of understanding, realizing that.
Oh, he's got to dumb it down for me now, huh? Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, I appreciate that. This email sucks. I hate this email.
Oh man, I thought it was a really informative and fun email.
No, he makes. Okay, I'll tell you right now. He makes the argument about that it's been proven that things work in the way they do, but it still doesn't fix that it's inconsistent. All right, there you go.
Okay.
Emailed.
All right then. So I'll just read the part about Dr. Boom and Sacred Trial then. So, because this was one thing that we were talking about where we were confused about how things work. So basically what happens with Dr. Boom is, let's say you have 2 Bloodfen Raptors on board and you play Dr. Boom when your opponent has Sacred Trial on board. First, Dr. Boom is summoned and is now part of the battlefield along with the 2 Raptors, bringing the minion count to 3. Done. So then the battle cry triggers and brings out 2 boombots, and then the secret checks for the conditions of the board. So Sacred Trial says, hey, my opponent has 5 guys on board. Time to kill the last one he played from his hand during this phase, and Dr. Boom is therefore destroyed. So that is why it's order of Hearthstone resolving things, which is battle cries, then secrets, which is why Boom is technically played from the hand. You don't play the boombot, so that's why that's not triggering Sacred Trial on your boombot.
Yes.
So he says, love the show as always. Hopefully this helps. If you're interested in further aspects of this, check out this page from Gamepedia, the advanced rulebook for Hearthstone, and there is a link in the show notes.
Yeah. So me and him had a whole conversation about it in my chat the other night. And that's the reason why, because I just don't want to do it again. That's the only reason.
Okay.
I don't want to read this whole thing again. I already did this. But the problem that me and Garrett had, and I get why the secret trial thing works because it says played, and that makes sense.
Yeah, not
The
summoned.
problem that we have is that there are things that are inconsistent with Hearthstone. They should all be consistent. And that is still true. Like, there are still things that happen certain ways sometimes and certain things another time. And that shouldn't work that way. It should always work exactly the way that it does every time, right? So, yes.
And it's kind of
Agreed.
funny that you talk about how like you and Garrett are confused because I mean I went to this whole advanced rulebook and I was reading through everything and I was just like, holy crap, for how much they say it's supposed to be real intuitive and real easy to understand, and like when I'm reading all the different phases and like what triggers what and what happens when, I'm just like, this is not easy or consistent or, you know, like just if I was a new player trying to figure out some of these interactions, like, holy crap, the combos are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is complicated. But the problem isn't that it's complicated because card games are complicated like this, right? Like when you play Magic and there's the stack and like this happens before this. Like at least the stack kind of puts things in an order where you can like peel it back one at a time and just see, okay, this happens, then this happens, and this happens. And that kind of like makes it easy to tell, where in Hearthstone it's like this imaginary stack that you're not aware of, but some things happen before other things on this stack. You know what I mean, Garrett? Like, it's like
No,
some
I know.
things are technically happen before other things,
Yes.
regardless of
Yes.
said stack. Right?
Well, and there's
Basically,
so
what it comes
many
down
effects
to.
in Hearthstone, it seems like, that are so much more complicated. And I don't know every single Magic card, so Garrett, you can probably speak to this a little more than I can. But it seems like effects in Hearthstone are a little bit more complicated, whether it's RNG or whatever, just because it's all coded in the background. If you had to sit there and try to figure out, like, there would be dice rolling, there would be
absolutely.
counters, all that. Like, I mean, it just seems like they have a lot more interesting interactions, but so much more complicated, which makes it really complicated for us on the player side to understand, because it's not all immediately visible.
Two parts. I'd like to respond to that. And like someone is timing us like a political debate. One, yes, random elements would be a pain in the butt to do on the Magic side of things. On the flip side, there are a lot of effects in Hearthstone that are incredibly simplistic compared to a game like Magic. In Hearthstone, we've yet to see, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. We have yet to see a targeted effect that can target more than one target. So Shattered Sun Cleric is a good example. Target minion gets +1/+1. There's no card like that that says give 2 targeted minions +1/+1 or any effect of that nature. Anything that affects multiple things on the board, whether it be minions or enemies or whatever, characters, it's always random. Anytime something is targeted, it is always singular. It's never multiple. And that's kind of an issue I take with Hearthstone. It seems like they're really limiting themselves in their game design by never kind of breaking that weird code. And I'm assuming part of that has to do with the way Hearthstone is coded.
Yeah, it's also, I think, just part of, like, they want you to just do something and point it somewhere and then be done, right?
Right.
I think they just want it to be that, like, feel that easy.
Right. I would love to see the cards that are significantly more robust in how they affect the board and give me more player agency and usher in the, I don't know, more interesting cards that have 0 random effects and everything I can select and micromanage and manipulate.
Yeah, the only things that we have like that are things like Cone of Cold, where like you target a minion and then it affects 3.
But you still target
You're
one.
still only
but you
ever
still
targeting
target
one minion
yeah,
in that
it
scenario.
will affect more than one minion, but
But
that's
so,
the
like,
only
what
thing that
you were
even
saying-
comes remotely close.
So what you're saying, Jocelyn, is like a little, like, I just want to point out, like, it's a little false to think that, like, somehow it's like there's more complex interactions in Hearthstone, because there's incredibly complex Hearthstone or interactions in Magic, but they're in a discernible order that's like very like this. It's like the same all the time. Whereas based on reading through what this guy linked to us, and I went through it, I'm like, okay, so some phases just happen before other phases, regardless of what order it happened in. It's like just because it's this phase, or it's because of this type of thing, it happens before this type of thing, and that's what makes things really difficult to discern from a player who doesn't like see it. Like, whereas in like Magic, I could go like, okay, so I do this, and then this trigger will happen, and then this will go on the stack, and then that'll happen. Like, it's all kind of happens more linear. And when things happen like in a certain order sometimes, in a certain order some other times, that's where like a player is going to be like, wait, what? Why does this work this way? And that's where people are going to fall into some problems. And I wish that Hearthstone didn't present things in that way. Like, oh, by the way, this always happens after this. Like, I get that you need to have that rule in there, but it can make things confusing to a player who doesn't understand, who hasn't read through something like this.
Exactly.
Right?
And there's no way in the game to see this information. It's not
Yes.
easily discernible. I should be able to go blindly into a brand new game of Hearthstone. If we had arena events, if we had limited Hearthstone where TGT comes out and you can go in, you can play the TGT arena. It's nothing but TGT cards. Go build a deck. You've never seen these cards before. I should be able to build a whole deck, play with those cards, and if I know the rules without having to look at outside sources, I should know exactly how all the interactions are going to play out, and that is impossible with the way Hearthstone currently is.
Yeah, and we, like, I understand why Sacred Trial works the way it does, and like we had this whole conversation, like I said, on my stream. But what it doesn't explain is why certain things like with Sword of Justice, the boom bots get buffed, and yet when I return cards with Vanish, the boom bots aren't the ones that went back and boom died. Like, boom went back first. Like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that is not working in an order that makes any sense. If battle cries happen first and those minions then hit the board first, then technically Dr. Boom should have hit the board last, right? And with Sword of Justice buffs the boom bots first, then ergo the boombots must have hit the board before Dr. Boom, right? Like that kind of stuff needs to be explained more to anybody when you're playing, because then when it's like I do something like Vanish, I can go, oh yeah, well this is how this will work, because I know, because it's obvious. You know what I mean? Otherwise, like you have to make a bunch of mistakes and then be like, oh crap, oh that works that way, okay, I lose, and I lost the game and I'm frustrated, and then that feeling sucks. So that's just what I want people to fix. So when Ryan came in, it was funny because we had this whole back and forth about it, and I never was like putting him down for like trying to explain some of this stuff. But what I was like, my argument still stands that yes, I get that it works in this order, but it should always work in the same order, no matter what. Everything should always work in the same order, and some things don't, and some things do, and that's really weird.
Yeah. So I guess to wrap it up with a nice tidy bow, we were definitely confused about Boom and Sacred Trial.
Yes.
We were not confused about the rest. We just wanted to be consistent.
Yes.
We understand that there are some things that this is just the way it happens because this is the way Hearthstone decides to do it, and now there are outside of Hearthstone sources that are considered rule books, but we would like that to not be the case.
And this particular rulebook he linked is actually not created by Blizzard. This is just people who tested a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
And we're like, this is how it works. But they had to do it through a bunch of weird testing. And if you do all that through the weird testing, you will eventually find that things don't always work the same way, with different cards. So that is something I hope that at some point is addressed, because it's, I think, an important thing for just the longevity of a game like this. You know what I mean? It's it may seem small to like most people who never run into the complex interactions, but there will come a time where it happens to you, and then you're going to be frustrated. And you shouldn't be frustrated by stuff like that. You should be frustrated because it's a secret paladin again. That's why you should be frustrated. But not because the cards didn't work.
Not because the game's not working the way you think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I think we're on the same page there. Oh, and speaking of that, there's another thing they need to fix, and that's the stupid raptor bug, man. The raptor bug needs to be fixed. You guys aware of this?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know how you activate it. It's like it happens differently in different scenarios. Sometimes you just play a raptor and it disconnects the game. Sometimes it's when you raptor a raptor that's already raptored something else. Like, I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, but I just wanted to bring it up and mention it. Please fix, please.
It's all over. It's all over Reddit. It's been all over Reddit. Today the discussion is, why don't they just disable the card until it's fixed?
I don't like that option. No.
I don't like that
because it's
option.
working fine for me most of the time.
I'm sure if you were disconnecting every single time you played the damn raptor, you might be singing a different tune.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I get it. It is frustrating.
Yeah, everybody has a different story about like what caused it, and I think that actually Yang Wu tweeted out, if it happens here, we'll just do a PSA. This will be good. If your opponent plays Unearthed Raptor and you find yourself getting disconnected, please save your output_log.txt and send it to me. So there you go. There's an actionable thing that you can do when the Unearthed Raptor bug happens to help Yang Wu fix it.
Yeah. All right.
I'll just pop the tweet in here real quick so people can see it.
Awesome. Awesome. Yang Wu is just like, he's all over the place, just being like, bug reports? You have a bug? Let me know what the bug is.
Yeah, I know.
It's like the Batman of bug reports. So I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks again to our patrons over at patreon.com/TAC. If you're leaving us 5-star reviews on iTunes, we really appreciate those as well. This week we wanted to thank Peaks Binge Watcher. Thank you to Vigo810, who said we are the best foul on the net. Thank you to Enjoy Relics and Mischief Merker. You need more vowels in there, buddy. And Lemmer, who says this show has a Canadian on it, so you know.
Was that 5 stars or 1 star?
That was 5 stars.
That could go either way.
It was 5 stars.
You're supposed to know, Jocelyn. So you know.
You know.
You know.
You
That's
know.
like some
always
secret
assume
Canadian
best,
thing,
so.
right? Okay.
You know. You know.
You know.
As always, The Angry Chicken can be found on amove.tv and youtube.com/amovetv. Thanks to our Patreon producers, Declan H, LVE, and Barry Scott L. Our t-shirt is over at slashloot.com. Follow us on Twitter at TAC Podcast, on Facebook /amovetv, and over at on Reddit at tacpodcast.reddit.com. We record live every Monday night at 5 p.m. Eastern Time now over at twitch.tv/amovetv and on alphageekradio.com. And thanks to BrianGriffithMusic.com for our intro music. Go check it out. Dills, where can folks find you?
Just follow me at Twitter at Willie Dills and check out the stream, twitch.tv/WillieDillsSF. We'll be doing a little streaming after the show today. And that'll be the new standard because we start early now, and it's great. And I get to hang out and stream afterwards. So check that out. Also, the Instance, the World of Warcraft podcast, and I do Stormcasts later on tonight. And the Warriors are the best. There you go.
Jocelyn, how do you feel about the Warriors?
I guess they're the best. I'm not even really 100% sure what sport they play.
Well, they're 18-0, so they're the best.
Warriors.
I'm not sure what sport they play either, but Katie and I got to see the Bears beat Green Bay on Thanksgiving evening, and
I bet that was enjoyable.
that just made our damn day. So
Anytime Green Bay loses, sorry to anybody who's a fan of Green Bay, but as a Niners fan, I always hated them.
I actually have personally nothing against Green Bay. They're frequently up against significantly teams that I significantly hate a lot more, so I find myself rooting for them more
So
often
usually
than
you're
not.
okay with them?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, they're playing the Patriots, go Green Bay. But I am married to an what would you call it? An Illinoisian.
Okay.
So by marital decree, I must root for the Bears and the Cubs. So go Bears.
By the way, the chat room just said the best thing ever. Warriors play Hearthstone, duh. Darkmaster Black.
Oh, that's so friggin' good. Chat room, this is why we love you. Joss, where can folks find you?
I'm over on Twitter at Joss Plays, which is the same as my Twitch channel. I'll be streaming a whole lot more now, in theory, if the internet holds up. I feel like we've just totally switched
cable.
roles. I know.
We need more cable.
I need all the cable in Canada, guys.
And if the PSA from today's show is anything, it's don't try to podcast on Wi-Fi, ladies and gentlemen.
It wasn't technically Wi-Fi. It was those little power things that you plug into your outlet, and then it brings the internet.
So I have that too, but I'll tell you this: sometimes you have to reset those a few times before it really sticks.
Yeah.
Because every time you do it, it changes its IP or whatever it's using. It's got a code that it uses to discern itself from all the other networks that I guess it might be grabbing. So try doing it just a couple more times, and then it'll work.
Okay.
Nice.
So we should be
They
fine.
work well, though. Yeah. They do work well. Power lines, yeah.
It was fine all day. I don't know. Just halfway through the show, it was like, oh, crap, it's Angry Chicken time. Boom,
Yep.
down.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Hey, it made it an hour in, almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
that's
good.
yeah. So and also we do the Gamers In every Wednesday night, which is my general gaming podcast. So if you guys want to come and hang out, it is right here on AMove TV.
All times have been updated on the website, on the Twitch, everywhere. So if you
Awesome.
come into the chat room and you're like, yo, I didn't know it was starting, it's your fault. It's entirely your fault. Listen to the podcast, read the website. I don't feel bad for you.
You should feel bad for yourself. Sorry. I was just jumping
You
on
guys
it.
are
Seemed
so
like a
Well,
good
angry.
don't do that, too.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
not angry. I'm just,
self-loathing is never
I
a
got
good
riled
thing,
up. Garrett riled me up, man.
Yeah. I'm letting Dills off the leash.
Oh,
I'm off the leash. Oh, go. Let's go.
Unleash the Dills. Summon one
Okay,
Dills.
I think I missed something.
I'm not gonna, yeah.
Summon one Dills for every troll. You can follow me on Twitter at GarrettArt. I'm over at newmoonart.com designing stuff. I'm on Into the Nexus talking about Heroes of the Storm, and I'm on The Angry Nerd talking to myself. Check out all of that jazz. And check out squarespace.com. We thank them for sponsoring the show. Once again, the code to use is TAC, and it's 10% off your first order. Go use it. Go build a beautiful website. And we will see you tomorrow for the call-in episode of The Angry Chicken. Talk to you then, patrons. Job's done.
Job's done.
Job's done.
Yes.